So we're starting this month off with Vocal Reboot, and what that means is we know that a lot of performers are getting their voices back in shape and starting to come into a brand new year. There's going to be big opportunity, and we want to make sure that you're prepared for it. What I see a little bit every year is that people sort of drag their feet, they're coming back to it gradually, and they kind of use their first audition opportunities to get back in shape. And if we're being smart about it, we want to start with that right away, get the voice into tip-top shape, get our mindset correct, start to get into a little bit more of a routine so that we can attack some of those initial opportunities head on and not use them to kind of come back to the practice. So today what we're going to be discussing is best practices, a daily routine, vocal health, how to get into a high level of vocal fitness. The voice is a muscle, and it's muscle coordinations. So this is why anyone can learn to sing and anyone can improve their voice. You just need the right work to do. But then you've got to start to do it regularly. The mistake that happens a lot is we tend to think of our voice, because it's so personal and it's something that we associate our identity with, as part of our body. And we tend to use the voice a little bit more like we'd use the body if we were going to the gym. And the voice is not like the big muscles in your arms and legs. So you're not going to progress if you just push it and you're hard on it and somehow that's going to get better. The voice is a lot more like the muscles in your fingers. It's really fine muscles and it's specific muscle coordinations, and it has its own level of stamina. So what this means is that the voice prefers more frequent, shorter practice sessions. So what I want each one of you to think about is, could I get into a new level of routine where I'm singing most days of the week, but it only needs to be maybe 20 minutes, maybe a half hour. Then if you start to feel like you're achieving that new level of vocal fitness, you might want to come at your voice a second time a day. And that's where you might want to do some more specific work, like if you're trying to add power to your voice or strength, or maybe you're trying to add agility to your voice, you could do a second vocalization, or that would also be the appropriate time to maybe start coaching some of your repertoire and making sure that song work is a really good part of your practice. What we want to think about when we come to singing each day is two aspects that we need in our training for balance, okay? The first one is registration, and what that means is that obviously we all have a voice that we're most familiar with and that maybe we prefer. So you've got your primary vocal registers, you have your chest voice, your middle voice, your head voice, and we need to make sure that each day we're singing all three. That way you're not just encouraging the one that you're already familiar with and that you already know the best and that's working well, but you're actually starting to lean into some of those weaknesses and bring them up to a balance so that you have a full working instrument. So every day your vocalization needs to hit all of your different registers so that you've got them all in shape. And then the second part is vocal cord function. Vocal cord function means that we need to make sure that our vocal cords learn to phonate properly with consistency and stamina. So that means no cracks and flips. It means no over singing or over squeeze that could tire the voice and make it feel fatigued. It means that you can sing smoothly through your bridges up and down, and you've got a very consistent tone as you sing around the range of your voice, and that the entire voice that can feel very different and very separate starts to sound very aligned and very equal. So that's where the vocal function part comes in, and I'm going to give you some exercises for achieving that balance in the vocal cord function. So let's start with one of our vocal registers. Because we walk around each day and we're talking in chest voice, I like to bring my singers immediately to middle voice, because that's a part of the voice that gets neglected, okay? So we're going to come up there. This is one of the best vocal exercises that you can do, and we're going to be singing on NG. So everybody, like the end of the word song, say, Good, just a light production. And what you should feel is that when you vocalize on N and G, the resonance is forced to move higher than speech. It's forced to move through the nasal cavity, and that's going to do a lot. It's going to take weight out of your voice, it's going to gently connect your cords, and it's going to prepare you to sing through your bridges into your higher voice. So we're going to do a gentle singing. This is something you can do each day, first thing, and we're going to glide back and forth. So we're going to be going very easy, okay? Everybody together. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it, just glide. Good, back and forth. Medium volume. Nothing too big. You want to use just enough energy that it connects those chords. Now, feminine voices, we're approaching your first bridge. So you're going to feel a shift of resonance, and you want to allow for that. Let it change. Don't fight it. Don't try to hang on to that familiar feeling. Feel the shift in resonance. And even if it needs to flip, let it flip. That's the way. Keep an even volume and a small, smooth stream of air. Don't push the voice. Now, masculine voices, we're coming into that bridge area for you. Again, feel the shift of resonance. That's it. Make sure you're breathing. Sit up nice and tall. And just allow your voice. When you're first singing each day, you don't want to force anything. You want to start to find your breathing. You want to start to establish that chord phonation. And you want to kind of just check in. Almost like if you were going to stretch your body. And you want to see, how do I feel today? So if the voice flips or breaks, that's okay. You just let that happen. And you keep moving through the exercise. Good. Again, sing in your own range. If it starts to feel like you're reaching for the low notes, just fall out. Each person is unique. One more. Nice. So let's keep progressing. Next, we're going to go to what are called SOVT exercises. SOVT is a fancy word. It means Semi-Occluded Vocal Tract. And what that means, in a simpler way, is partially blocked. So what we're doing is we're putting something in front of the voice that blocks the air a little bit, and that creates this back pressure that gets sent down to the vocal cords and makes them close up really well in a balanced way. So I want you guys to pick a filter. It doesn't really matter which filter you pick, except that you want to pick the most successful one for yourself. So different options are going to be lip trills, or tongue trills, okay, or you can do raspberries. Or if you are into straw work, you're seeing a lot of people do straw phonation today, where they blow bubbles into a glass of water, or they get singing straws. All of these things make the opening for your voice much smaller, and they create a little bit of a block that sends that healthy back pressure down to the cords, and the cords come together to match that back pressure, and you can feel that. So if you're letting too much air release, your vocal cords are going to get loose, and you'll start to feel a little breathy. And if the blocking is too tight, they're going to start to feel squeezed. So you got to make sure that you're finding a really good balance that feels like stamina, and again gives you that very consistent phonation that we're looking for as we move up and down the range, okay? We're going to do a much wider scale now that sounds like this. Okay, you'll get used to it. So it's got 6 notes going up and 7 coming down. Okay, and this is really good for expanding and extending the range, and also for singing through those bridges in a more fluid musical way. Okay, so we're going to be going through. We're going to start as low as we possibly can, and we're going to go as high as we possibly can. And again, that's going to be very unique to each singer. So you've really got to kind of check in with yourself and make sure that you're not straining your voice, but you're actually discovering your voice, and you're learning to sing with a much wider range. So we're going to start down low. Pick the filter that works best for you. And I'm going to be singing. Again, focus on even airflow and even volume so that you're not pushing as you go higher. Here we go. Everybody get a good breath. Here we go. And 1, 2, 3, 4. That's it. Good. Try to feel evenness in your tone. Feel your chords come together effortlessly. That's it. Make sure you're not pushing harder and getting louder as you sing higher, but you're actually feeling the weight come off your voice. and you're getting a stretch from the vocal cords. It should feel like a release as you pass through the top. And you should feel that shift of resonance from chest voice through middle voice, up into head voice, and then back down. Good. Here's high C. We're going to go a little bit higher for advanced singers. But if it gets too high and you feel yourself straining, just fall out. Good. Each day, we want to stretch the voice from the bottom to the top, and we want to learn to start singing above the range that we need for songs. We want to have a much wider range for vocalization than we have for singing our repertoire. Good. If you fell out, try to re-engage. That's it. Keep breathing. Good. Start to discover those different vocal registers. That's it. Here we come into the low voice again. One more. Nice. So a lot of singers, when they feel the voice move and they feel these changes occur in their instrument, they think they're doing something wrong. And this is because we get so familiar with our chest voice, and it really feels like our vocal identity. And then when we start to get outside of that familiar territory, we think, maybe I'm doing something wrong, maybe this isn't right. And that causes a lot of vocal issues when you're training. Also, when you listen to some of your favorite singers, because they have a good vocal fitness and a good vocal condition, and their voice does sound even, you think when you're listening to them that they're using one part of their voice and they've somehow figured out how to move it around. And that's not the case. The case is that they're singing through these different vocal registers and they've brought them all up to balance. So for the audience, it sounds strong and it sounds even, but they feel the same shifts of resonance that you feel in your voice. So the more that you vocalize these fluid scales that move through the registers and across the bridges, the more even your voice is going to start to sound. But you're going to always continue to feel it be flexible and move, and you're going to feel like the different registers have different, what we call resonant sensations. So the different parts of your voice feel different, and that's exactly right. So as you're moving through these areas of your voice, don't struggle. Don't try to hang on to a familiar feeling and start to feel stuck. Make sure that you feel release. And even if your voice breaks or it flips, you're letting it go. And the more that you start to sing these fluid scales, the more even that transition is going to become.
Interested in more voice training? Visit us at wolfstudiosnyc.com.